Hello. Today I want to speak about the free will. We all have a free will, so we can decide what to do. We can decide, do we want to go to a bar and have a few drinks, or do we want to go instead to a cinema and watch a funny movie? So it is great to have a free will. However, there are some restrictions to our free will. For example, how fast our heart beats. We cannot control that. If we want that it beats slower, it usually does not follow our instructions. So there are parts of our body which are out of the reach of our free will. And there are also sometimes situations when our body takes over control. Imagine you put your hand on a hot plate and your body will quickly remove your hand in order to protect it so that it doesn't get burned. In such situations, the body takes over. And there are also emotions. So sometimes you feel happy and sometimes you feel sad. Often they are linked to urges. Let's say you are hungry or you're thirsty or you're sleepy. Still you have a free will and you can decide what to do. But when you are hungry, you're very likely to get some food. While when you're thirsty, you will probably get something to drink. Or when you're sleepy, you will find a place to sleep, I guess. So there is a free will, but if we have some urges, we will use it to fulfill them. And then we will have positive emotions, then we will be happy. While when we not fulfill them, we might feel unhappy. And in the end, we want to feel happy. For us, it is very important that after a long day, we have a feeling of happiness. We are fine with what we did. And this is a way to go on with life. But if we are not happy, we have a serious problem. And we might think about taking medicine or going to a doctor to change that. So it is very important for us to have positive emotions. Let's say one day you decide you don't want to go to work, instead you go to a bar and have a few drinks. Maybe in the end of that day you will have negative emotions because you might think, hey, if I lose this job, I will not have enough money to pay for my apartment. It's not a good thing, I don't feel fine. And because of these negative emotions, the next day probably you go to work again. So you are controlled by your emotions and you cannot decide about them. You cannot say, well, I want to go to the bar, have some drinks and then feel great in the evening. That doesn't work. Although some people try that. They want to plan that. Let's say they plan, on Monday I want to be excited, on Tuesday I want to be very happy, and on Thursday I want to relax and I want to be somehow a bit bored. Usually that doesn't work because emotions are a part of our body, of our mind, which we cannot control. On the contrary, we are controlled by them. Let's imagine fear. If you have fear, if you're afraid, you cannot control that. You cannot decide, well, I want to have fear now because I'm in such a situation. And sometimes you are in a situation where it's absolutely not understandable to have fear. Still, you might be afraid. So fear comes from somewhere else. You cannot control it. I often use a comparison to exemplify how emotions affect you. Let's imagine a dog on a leash. The dog has a free will. It can decide to run forward, it can decide to run backwards, to run to the left or to run to the right. But should it run too far away, the owner will pull the leash and then the dog has to return. Otherwise, his throat will hurt. So the dog has a free will, 100%, but in the end, he will go exactly the way his owner wants him to go. And the same is true for our free will. We seem to have a free will, but in the end, we will do what we are supposed to do and not what our free will decides. In a past video, I pointed out 3 goals which human beings have, in my opinion. I will repeat them now. Firstly, to keep your body healthy. Secondly, to reproduce. And thirdly, to spread your culture. Thank you very much for watching.